Welcome everyone to Ruslan Bortnik YouTube channel in English. My name is James Talberg and I'm here today with Ruslan, political scientist, political expert, and the director of Ukrainian Institute of Politics, going to discuss the latest about Ukraine. Ruslan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, James. It's nice to see you again. It's very nice to see our viewers today again.
Ruslan, I want to start with you want to start talking to you about the situation in the Kursk region. Now, when we have the new elected president in the United States, and we have a potential future negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine is still holding on the Kursk region. It's still controlling most of the land that was captured at the beginning of that operation. What is the tactical situation there, and what are the goals now with that territory that is still under the Ukrainian forces' control?
Of course, Ukrainian forces are trying to keep these territories, this blue-collared spot, till the day of inauguration of of the elected president of the United States. Because Ukraine wants to use the situation like a negotiation methods, like a negotiation tool for future negotiation, peace talking, finding a new balance with Russian Federation. The lowest goal Ukraine already has achieved. Ukraine was able to keep these territories till the election day in the United States. Now we have a bigger goal, a longer goal to keep these territories till the end, till the starting of real negotiation. Of course, Russia understands this strategy very clear. So Russia doing a lot to kick off Ukrainian forces, to show Ukrainian forces from its own lands. And last week we saw a big counteroffensive operation of Russian forces, which were trying to cut Ukrainian flanks in these directions. In these directions, a lot of attacks, very bloody attacks on these lands with a very small movement of real Russian forces. I will show you one video which I think describing very well the situation on the battlefield in this direction. This is around, it's happened around Novo-Ivanivka, this film movie, and this movie is from Deep State account. It's their movie, but as I understand, it's 47 brigades of armed forces of Ukraine made this movie, and we can see what is going on in this direction. Ukraine is trying. Okay, I add something more future features for this situation. I'll describe more the situation. It's a Russian offensive attack near Novo-Ivanovka in the southern part of this Kursk region.
So basically, those are the tanks that are moving to one of the the Russian tanks.
Yeah, and I'm trying to move it. I'll trying to do all my best. You can see the Russian tanks which are going on attacks on Ukrainian positions near Ivanovka. And you can see the job work of Ukrainian artillery forces. And also we see the miners on the roads, how it works against the armored vehicles. This is fights near Novo-Ivanovka. And of course, you understand how hard loses. It's a drones attack of Ukrainian forces for Russian forces, Russian armored vehicles. And of course, Russia lost a lot of soldiers and officers on this direction of Russian offensive in Kursk region. You see Russian forces wasn't able even to get the settlement. They were catched, mostly catched in the fields and in the roads of this situation. So Russia is trying to kick off Ukrainian forces, but it's not. Russia is not still successful in this because Ukraine gathered our best forces, our best
One of the
reserves.
best brigades are in the
Oh,
Kursk region
yes,
now.
on this direction, and they are very experienced, and they are very able to make a defense operation in Kursk region. But I think in the future situation will be worsening for Ukraine because Russia is collecting more and more forces in Kursk region. Also, we are waiting.
And that was my second question.
Yeah.
What happened to the North Korean soldiers that
Yeah.
were supposed to be on a battlefield, but we kind of like had the spike with news about the North Korean soldiers, but now we don't have any updates. So what's happening with the North Korean soldiers? Are they going to participate in the war? Can we see any evidence of them trying to help the Russians on the Kursk region, or any other tactical advantages that they're giving them?
There are a lot of news about the participation of North Korean troops in the battle in Kursk region, but there is no any statements, any official statements on it. There is no any captured North Korean soldier. There is no any wounded or dead North Korean soldiers. So if we even have this situation of participation of North Korean troops in this battlefield, this participation is very limited. It's
So it's a
drop,
very limited
yeah,
participation, and it has
it's
very,
drop by drop only, or drop
so
by
it's
drop.
barely influencing the situation.
Yeah, not the massive influence in this situation. Maybe it's because they are in the preparatory stage now, because they are still learning the situation and they are still preparing for using a very modern technologies in this war, which are far away from other different wars last 100 years.
Hmm. Right. So that's a good observation with the Kursk region. I think it's kind of like balancing on pause right now. We have two Russian attacks that were failed, and Ukraine succeeded to maintain its position. If we move a little bit more to the east, we'll have Kharkiv. The situation is a little bit less positive for the Ukrainian forces because Russians were trying to occupy more of the territory and they were trying to advance. What is currently happening on that direction?
We have a small crisis in the Kupyansk direction. Kupyansk is a big city in the east of Kharkiv Oblast. Here is, you see this city,
Hmm.
and this city is politically very important because it's divided on two banks of the river Oskol, on left and right bank. And this city was a so-called capital of Russian-controlled regions of Kharkivska Oblast in 2022. So
Hmm.
capital of Russian Kharkivska Oblast. And the last day, the situation there was worsening extremely fast because Russian troops were able to enter into the city Kupyansk. You see, now we
Yep.
have.
It's a short distance.
It's a short. They are inside of city now, but there are a very controversial information from both sides. Ukrainian side is saying that there is no Russian troops inside of Kupyansk. We defended this situation. They was, but we were able to kick them off. Russian sources saying that we are inside of left bank Kupyansk,
Hmm.
and we are trying to save this position. We are trying to move the battlefield closer to this city. So we can say exactly that the fights for this city just beginning again, and this city also is the city of the front line. Moreover, the situation in this direction is worsening in the north direction when Ukrainian Platsdarm in the left bank of river Oskol, it's going like there. This river, also this Platsdarm was divided, was cut into part in Kupyansk part and Borova part, and Russian forces were very able to move very fast in direction of Kolesnikivka and Kruglakovka. You can see it just what this direction, and you can see there what the changes we had during the last week. You can see how it's changing and how this plasma of Russian forces is growing up during the last week. Situation is getting worse, and there is a significant risk that Ukrainian will be pushed to leave all this left bank of river Oskol from Kurakhovo to Kupyansk.
Before we move to next parts of the front line to describe them as well, I want to ask you, why is Russia putting so many resources? Because obviously they're advancing, so they're putting people, they're putting equipment into the Kharkiv region. They haven't included, when they annexed 4 Ukrainian regions, oblasts, as Ukrainians are calling them, they haven't included Kharkiv region into their constitution, but they are trying to occupy it physically. Are they planning in the future to add that region as well into their constitution?
It's quite possible, because I want to remind our viewers that the Kharkiv was the first capital of Ukraine. More than 10 years, Kharkiv was the capital of Ukraine in Soviet Ukraine. I will show you one more video. It's from Kupyansk, and I will answer for your questions more. It's a Russian offensive operation on Kupyansk region. You see also the armored vehicles, columns of armored vehicles, of Russian armored vehicles, who are trying to achieve Kupyansk. They are, sorry, technical mistake. They are under the fire of Ukrainian forces. I will show you this again. I will show you this again. And it's very strange, and there are a lot of talks in Ukraine about it, that these Russian forces, these Russian armored vehicles, were able to move to Kupyansk. Sorry, to move to Kupyansk without any serious Ukrainian defense.
So that means that Ukraine doesn't have any defense lines,
or something, maybe traitor, maybe something bad happened in this situation. Maybe traitors, maybe Russian intelligence were able to find the weak place or gap place in Ukrainian defense line.
But even if the Russian intelligence were able to find the weak line where the Russian forces could have moved, what's the point of sending one tank into that weak point?
They were just able to go almost through the city, very close to city, and spread the soldiers in that city. They are in city. Russian tanks in city, in Kupyansk city. You see it. Of course, they under the shelf now. But they are in city. And this is battlefield situation. One of the Russian plans on Ukraine could be a preparation or building so-called another Ukraine, loyal to Russia Ukraine, with the capital in Kharkiv or Zaporizhia. Zaporizhia is less possible because Zaporizhia is formally legally included in the Russian constitution, but Kharkiv is quite possible. So if the war will go on, I'm sure that Russia will try to capture the Kharkiv city and to make there such a political subject like a real Ukraine, legal Ukraine. Moreover, Russia has for it some Ukrainian leaders, past leaders like Yanukovych, previous Ukrainian president or like Medvedchuk, one of the main Ukrainian political player in previous time. So it's quite possible. But for now, Russia has enough power and sources to surround or to capture the Kharkiv. And right now, Russia is trying to kick off Ukrainian forces from the left bank of the river of Oskol. It's because it could be a part of Russian operation on another direction. It could be a part of Russian operation on Donetsk direction. I will show you very fast on our map. If Russia will be able to keep this area and this area, there will be a straight direction to offensive operation to Slovyansk and Kramatorsk from the north. From another direction, you can see Russia from the south directions, Pokrovsk here and Mirnograd here. From this direction, Russia is also trying to go maybe to the Slavyansk and Kramatorsk, two biggest city of unoccupied part of Donbass, which is under Ukrainian control now.
So they're trying fully to close the Donbas region in its
Yes.
official territory line from the north.
This is the main goal of
yeah.
Russian state and Russian so-called special military operation in Ukraine, which was proclaimed by the Putin many, many times.
And how about that little gap that we see where there's a lot of errors of Russian advancement? We had critical points there where they were advancing fast. Are they still advancing fast, or Ukraine was able to balance the situation in that part? Well, I can see from last week that it looks like Russians were able to capture more of that land.
Ukraine has a significant military risk around Kurakhovo, and Ukrainian forces are not able to stop this Russian offensive operation. And it looks like Ukraine can lose all these territories in the nearest future. Just look, it's a small pocket, so-called. Just look in the southern part of Kurakhovo, we have only distance in 7 kilometers.
It's a very short distance, but there is a lake. It's not so easy to cross it because there is a lake, and if there is bridges.
This distance is quite possible to cover any drones, artillery, and so on.
So that's my next question. That's in terms of the supply, right? If we have a short distance in about 7 kilometers from one Russian point to another Russian point, it's super easy to use, just like you've mentioned, artillery or drones. So isn't that smarter for the Ukrainians to start and leaving that area, because probably supplying them with weapons and just regular food supplies, aid is probably more difficult for the Ukrainians because I can see there is a lake, right? And just like you've mentioned, artillery, drones, so that area is being harder to maintain.
We have this lake. It's a water resource special place, but this lake is only in the map because everything is destroyed there. There is no enough water in this lake. It's like a very wet place, but not the lake, fully tight lake. But if Ukraine will lose these territories, it means that Russia will be able to make an offensive operation to Kurakhovo from south also, not from the east or like now, or from the north like now, but from south to the also. So Ukrainian forces are trying to keep this pocket, but with a huge losses in this pocket, of course, because there is no normal military transfer. There is no normal supplying of military ammunition in this pocket. There is no Ukrainian artillery anymore in this pocket because there is no able to keep there. It is there. And I think we will lose this pocket in the nearest day, but there is a bigger even risk then we can lose all the Kurakhovo region, because you can see only 17 kilometers are also between the Russian forces which are trying to surround city of Kurakhovo and settlements around Kurakhovo, all this region. And it looks like Ukrainian forces is not able to stop this offensive operation, and it could be lost also if Ukraine will lose this Kurakhovo region. I think it will happen in the nearest weeks. All this region, Russia will be able to start a full stage offensive operation on Pokrovsk from the different directions. Pokrovsk and Mirnograd from the different directions. They are not able to do it just now because Russian forces have open flank and for Ukrainian counteroffensive operation. And moreover, they will be able to start an offensive operation around Velikaya Novoselovka. It's one more regional district of Donetsk Oblast. You can see it in this direction. This is the city. So situation will be getting worse for Ukrainian forces if we lose this Kurakhovo region. General dynamic is very negative for Ukraine, but it is far away from the full collapse or elimination crisis or capitulation of Ukraine, because look at general map of Ukraine.
Those are still small and minor advances.
This fight is still far away from the Kyiv, from the main cities of Ukraine. Far away. It's in the eastern and southern part of Ukraine. Ukraine is a very huge country, and unfortunately, of course, can suffer even such damage during the war.
Take on bigger losses. That makes sense. Ruslan, I wanted to ask you also about the Zaporizhia city and the region. I've heard that people are claiming that the city is fully defended and they're ready for any Russian operations that might be taken against the city. What is the current state there? Are the people actually evacuating and slowly leaving the city because they're in danger of potential occupation? And is Ukraine actually prepped and ready for any potential future attacks from the Russian side?
The city Zaporizhia, it's due to the Russian constitution, it's a part of Russia. The Ukrainian constitution, of course, and due to international law, it's part of Ukraine. But now city Zaporizhia is still far from the front. And there is another risk. There is another risk. I'm talking about the Russian bombs, flying bombs, which every day we are using against Zaporizhia. And the life in Zaporizhia became very dangerous. We have a lot of civilian losses in Zaporizhia, and Zaporizhia is the one of the most important Ukrainian industrial center, which is slowly dying on our eyes because of these Russian cells and Russian bombs. I don't know how is it prepared for the defense operation, and moreover, if I even know, I will not say it in any case. But the weakest place of the Zaporizhia is that the main part of Zaporizhia, administrative center of Zaporizhia, is on the left bank of river Dnipro. Here is. So if the front will move to the Zaporizhia, there will not be, there is a significant risk that Russia will cut all the bridges through the Dnieper River, and Russia will be able to surround this city and to capture this city. Last days we didn't see any significant moves of Russian troops on this direction, but there are a lot of notices that Russian forces are preparing to offensive operation in front of Gulay Pole and Orikho in this stage. And around Gulay Pole we have even a small local fights, so-called intelligence investigation fights, when Russia is trying to find the offensive places and offensive spots of Ukrainian forces in the stage of preparation of this offensive operation. But I think it could happen only after the ending situation around Kurakhovo and Velika Novosilka, not earlier.
Ruslan, thank you so much for your comments today. And guys, thank you for watching our channel. Please subscribe and leave any comments that you would like us to answer, or just open them up into a discussion for the next videos. Ruslan, thank you again.
Thank you, James, and thank you for this help, and thank you for your deep interest to Ukraine.